This is the place where I'm going to find love. Marriage does not create love. Marriage is an institution that is designed to preserve the love that two people have created. Sometimes marriages exist without love. There are some people who are in marriage, who are married, and they're not in love. They're not in love. They stay married for reasons that extend beyond love. Sometimes people are married because of children. Sometimes people are married because of social obligations. Sometimes people are married out of embarrassment. Sometimes people are married because of, being the person and their spouse are business partners. And they stay married for the business. So it's not necessarily love. All right. As Sister Nisa Muhammad, she said that marriage sustains love. Love does not sustain a marriage. You guys follow me? Marriage sustains love. Love does not sustain a marriage. Meaning, just because two people are in love doesn't mean that the marriage will remain intact because of their love. There are tons of people right now that are separated, that are divorced and separated. They love each other. They just can't be in a marriage with each other. Tons of people. They love each other to death. They wouldn't want anything bad to happen. Jazakallah khair, man. They wouldn't want anything bad to happen to the person. They love the person. They're not in love with them, but they love them. But they can't be in a relationship with them. Tons of people out there like that. So marriage does not, love does not sustain a marriage. Marriage sustains a love. Meaning, with the institution of marriage, if we follow the rules, the regulations, the guidelines, everything that the roles, responsibilities, everything that marriage brings to the table, if we follow that, then perhaps we will preserve the love that we have for one another. But our love does not protect our marriage. Love does not mean that you are guaranteed a marriage because you love someone. All right. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very famous ayat that Allah mentions in the Quran, and from amongst his signs is that he created for you from amongst yourselves spouses so that you may find tranquility in them. And he placed between you love and mercy. So there's love and mercy between husband and wife. But in order for that love and mercy to be sustained and maintained, there has to be an institution. Any two simpletons can find themselves in a relationship. Anybody can find themselves in a relationship with somebody else. But how do you maintain that relationship? There has to be rules, regulations, guidelines. Without law, there's no order. And unfortunately, in today's time, many Muslims, they want marriage, they want relationships minus the institution. As very famous statement by Mae West, she said, marriage is a beautiful institution, but I'm not interested in the institution. I just want to be in a relationship. I don't want all these rules and regulations and guidelines and roles and responsibilities. And that is the problem with many Muslims today, both women and men. They don't want the institution. They just want to tweak it as they go along. They want to shoot from the hip, be in a relationship. I can do this because I did this before I was Muslim. I used to have girlfriends. I used to have boyfriends. I know how this relationship thing works. You might. But when you're looking at marriage from an Islamic standpoint, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated rules, regulations, guidelines, roles for both husband and wife that for reasons that are sometimes beyond what we can understand. And if you choose to go off and do your own thing without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help, then there's no guarantee that your marriages or that your relationship is going to survive. And we're seeing that right now. How many Muslim men and women have found each other, however they found each other. But they can't maintain the relationship because they're not abiding by the rules and regulations that have been designed to maintain that relationship. Am I making sense? Does this make any sense? And believe it or not, this is just my theory. I believe that this is one of the reasons why many Muslim men go after non-Muslim women. Why? Because they want the relationship. but they don't want the rules regulated. They don't want to have to pay a dowry. They don't want to have to be responsible for rent. They don't want to have to be responsible for mortgage. They don't want to have to be responsible for all of these things in writing. You understand? A Muslim man may go into a relationship with a woman and, based upon his love for her or his feelings for her, he may provide for her based upon that. But it's not a written rule. But now when we come into a Muslim marriage and we say, oh, Islam says you got to provide housing, you got to provide clothing, you got to provide food. It's like they feel like they're being forced to do something, and they would much rather have that happen naturally. You follow me? Is that making any sense? And it doesn't help when Muslim women are constantly dangling this over the head of the man. Well, this is my right. And it's just like, I got it. It's your right. I got it. Okay, but you don't have to dangle that in front of me. You don't have to keep threatening me with that. And so many Muslim men opt to go with a non-Muslim woman. I'm not justifying that. I'm just clarifying. They may opt to go with a non-Muslim woman because with a non-Muslim woman, whatever they decide to offer in that relationship happens naturally and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, you're throwing that in my face, your rights, and this is the obligation on the Muslim man. And, it's just like the constant reminder. It's like the man is being policed under the guise of religion. And so I'm not saying that, I'm not justifying that. I'm just trying to provide some clarity based upon what I know from many Muslim men who have gone that route and many Muslim men who are choosing to go that route. And that's not to say that Muslim women need to dumb themselves down to accommodate that nonsense. It's just trying to put everything in perspective, trying to get us to understand the why behind that. All right. Does that make any sense? Do you guys see that, or you disagree with it or anything?